Hey, Kelly, I'm so excited to have you here. So for the folks who are just joining, maybe haven't met Kelly before, I've been crushing on Kelly for a while on Instagram. I love her posts. I love how just down to earth and not like fear mongery. And it's just like, hey, this is how life operates, and here's some skills. And as I've been stalking you more and more on social media and where I see you're sitting, I just found out you are in the education field. Are a teacher. You teach teachers, and we can see all that. So I'm really excited to talk to you today. And I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, but the thing that triggered like, oh, I have to talk to her right now, is a post that you made of you and your daughter at a facility, and I guess it's a self-defense class going on, and you're like laughing and playing, and your daughter is right there with you, and it's so much joy. And for me, I came to self-defense through martial arts, so like I'm just drawn to that kind of play.
Me too.
Okay, and so I feel like we don't see enough joy in the topic of around self-defense. It's always grim and scary.
Yeah.
And I saw that video, and it first of all, it just burst my heart with joy just to see women and girls playing like that. And then it was like, I must talk to Kelly about this. I want to let's talk about this. So I'm going to stop yapping now. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I kind of butchered like your expertise with the school, but please introduce yourself and let's
Yes.
jump in.
Okay. So I am Kelly, and all the kids and everybody calls me Coach Kelly. I am a instructional coach in Oakland or the Bay Area. So basically what that means is I host workshops that teach teachers how to do classroom management and do different curriculum and things that kind of engage students in the classroom and make it a more enjoyable experience. And as far as my self-defense with Girls Defend, I am a third generation martial artist. So it is just our family legacy. It's what we do, it's how we bond, it's how we've always bonded. And I fell in love with basically beating boys up. If I'm being honest, it's just like I was definitely a target because I have 6 older brothers. And so I was majority of the time one of the only maybe 2 girls in all of the martial arts classes.
Are you the baby of your family?
I am the baby.
So you had 6 older brothers, and then you're
I'm
the baby and the girl. I'm
Yes.
the same, but I only had 2 older brothers. So I got the beatings, but not by 6. That's amazing.
It used to be like, thinking back, I'm just like, I was full on traumatized.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, it was definitely preparation. Like my parents are very seasoned. And so they understood that they were not going to be there to be able to fight my battles for me. And they understood that even my brothers, the youngest brother to my age is 9 years older than me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I was just alone at school. There were no cousins, there were no brothers and sisters. Like it was just, you have to know how to protect yourself and how to carry yourself. And it became more than just the physical portion. It's what are you doing to avoid the physical stuff to begin with, because you're outnumbered.
Yeah.
You're almost always going to be outnumbered. And so you need to understand how to evade things and then how to like square up if you need to square up.
Yeah.
But they always made it fun. It was always like a challenge. And so that was my experience. So as I had children, they were in the martial arts class. But what I realized is that the martial arts was very disciplined in teaching you how to regulate yourself and how to focus your energy. But most of it was about the not fighting, right? And I'm just like, okay, part of who I was that I had the martial arts portion of it, which was the regulating. But then I was like raised in the hood. So there was a lot of options if you don't get to fight. You just got to like put yourself out there and square up. And so when I became an adult, I realized my kids are in this martial arts class, but they're getting bullied at school. Because that natural instinct that we create, those kind of street behaviors and street responses, our children aren't learning it because, fortunate enough, I have created a life where they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But now you're in these situations and you're not knowing how to respond to it or how to react. And so I wanted to create a space like that where I could really have those conversations with my daughter and her friends. And that's just kind of how Girls Defend started up. And when I first started, I was having all of my brothers teach the class because I'm a teacher. I wanted to do the talking part of it.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening is, although I love my brothers to death,
of course,
I was getting tired of hearing them make comments during our classes, like, because girls are always pulling hair.
Like, boys, what do they know?
I'm just like, can you keep your old school misogynistic stuff to yourself, please? While I have brought all these young ladies here to be uplifted,
Yes.
And so I had to kind of kick them to the curb and get in there and teach the classes myself. So I work with my nieces because they're also part of the martial arts family, and they come in and they do the classes with us. But really, everything that I do, like my main, I guess, what do they call them? It's like the things you live by. Is family, fun, and learning.
I love that. Those are great values.
Learning.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want everyone around me to be lifelong learners. I want them to be with the idea that there is no day that you won't pick something new up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you can make it a fun experience,
what?
That is just going to stick with you for so long and create such positive stories when you're passing that information on to the next person. And always including family in it, which is why I was just like, okay, mommy and me, like we should have our moms and daughters together doing this because you guys are fighting the same battles.
Oh, wow.
You're having the same conversations.
Yeah.
You are with your mom more than you're with anybody else. In all reality, chances are if you are out and you guys are under attack, you'll be together. So strategize, work together, figure it out. Like use your body, get to know each other. And so having those mommy and me classes, like so much fun. It's so much fun.
Well, and so for clarity, so you teach you do a once a month mommy and me, is that correct?
I have actually switched. So each class is offered once a season now.
Got it. Okay.
I was doing monthly classes. It was a little bit difficult getting that continuous sign up.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Now making it a little more exclusive, like, no, now you're going to have to wait a whole 3 months.
Yeah.
So I do the mommy and me classes. I'm also just on my second Girls Empowered course. And so that course is having 3 full days where it's 5 hours of us just having all the conversations.
Yeah.
I'm doing mommy and me classes. It's 2 hours and I have to get most of the physical stuff in.
Yeah.
But then we're missing all of the de-escalation conversations. We're missing all of the self-confidence conversations and the things that I want to talk about with our young ladies before the situation occurs.
And if I could just throw a plug, because you talk about this on I'm only on Instagram. And so I see you on Instagram, either clips of classes or doing, your lives and stuff. So if you love what you're hearing, go check Kelly out and follow her, because you're very active with that and sharing that. And I love what you're doing, because it is not, and we love our big brothers, right? Like they taught us so much, but it also sounds like that experience of watching them teach, you got to see what was missing. Exactly. And bring that in. And it's also interesting because you were telling me your role now in your day job is you teach teachers. And so I love that you have this kind of big 360 view to see, okay, how are the students responding to this?
Exactly. Like one of the main things that I was able to do, and I think is the best part, is when they come to our course, it's basically set up like a classroom, right?
Yeah.
So they come in and they're like seeing whiteboards and they're seeing questions and they're seeing an agenda and all this stuff. And it's just like, oh no, we're really here to learn. You are. We're here to have more than just the physical stuff, because defense is so much more than fighting back, right? It's standing up and knowing those safe ways to stand up. And now it's just like, I'm looking to try to figure out how I can incorporate classes for our young men, because just the example of that Will Smith situation, right?
Yeah.
I brought it up to my students today. I'm like, are you team Will or team Chris? Like, what are we here and why are you in these different places? How did you feel? And most of them were like, Chris deserved it. He got popped and woo, woo, woo. And I'm just sitting there going, but it's that defense. If we're talking about what is the difference between defense and a fight,
right?
Do you know what the difference between defending yourself and fighting is? and having those conversations about, no, words should not match your physical.
Yeah.
Because our young ladies, they are physical. And I don't know why everybody thinks they're so dainty all the time. I mean, these girls are rough.
Yes.
But I see them being rough with boys and then cry when the boys are rough back with them.
Ah, okay. Because is that a tactic? That's a defense tactic, maybe.
It's, they want to play until the play gets rougher than they expected.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And so then it's just like, but you started it. You can't all of a sudden be the victim.
Yeah.
It's like you basically set this tone, and you don't get to determine how someone, right, how they respond to it, because everyone is being taught to defend themselves and take care of themselves. And if you're putting that out there that you want to be the rough and tumble and play, then we have to like have some real conversations. Okay, I don't like that. That's gone a little bit too far.
Yeah.
But not the whole flip off immediately. Like, I was the girl who used to play fight with boys. One time I was play fighting with this boy, and we're slap boxing, and then I was done. I didn't want to slap box anymore. So I was like, I'm done, but I initiated. And so for him, it's like, you don't get to be done. And so he hit me back, and it sent me to red. It turned into a full-on fight because I was done and you weren't, but I didn't fully express that or know how to fully express that.
Yeah.
Or what the steps were to stop it before it turned into a big old brawl. And so having those conversations about knowing how to respect others, like even as you're beating up on your little brothers and doing things like that, it's just like, are you practicing the respect you want?
Yeah.
Because those are some real conversations. It's just like, there are levels to defense.
Yeah.
We have to know what they are and when it's time to hit the escalator or when it's time to take it a step at a time.
Right.
So it's definitely important.
One thing, a story you told recently, again, I've been stalking you, getting ready for this conversation. And you told a really great story. And this is one thing I love about your work is it's not theoretical. It's not like, here's this move that in like some fantasy world, we think this is how bad guys operate. But you tell a story about just go, like you parked your car and you go to the nail salon. Could you recap that? Because you said so much important things that I think everything you just said is a perfect illustration of this story.
Yes. So I was headed into a nail shop, and again, being observant and just knowing the area that I was in, I never feel scared, or it doesn't seem like a dangerous place, but it's a place that it could happen.
Sure.
And so as I'm walking, a pair of men were walking up, just doing random stuff. I saw him pulling on gates and tossing stuff. And it was just, I noticed it, but I didn't take warning of it because I'm just like, okay. But it was the second that I stopped and they stopped. I was just like, okay, no. And you guys are under the impression that I'm not paying attention to you because I've learned the art of observing without making eye contact.
Yeah.
Because again, when I make eye contact with people, everybody thinks it's time to conversate. I don't want to talk to you. I cannot stand it. So it's just, so you think that I'm not paying attention, but I am. And now I have to think about how it is I'm going to address this situation. Yeah. Am I going to just stand here and hope that they keep moving and leave myself vulnerable? Am I going to try to rush and get inside and close the gate and hope that situation? So again, evaluating what is happening and what could be my best course of action. And for me, the best course of action was to turn and face it straight on.
And so wait, so this is you standing at the door before you went into the salon, or can you paint that picture?
I was walking and they were walking up, so we were passing each other. And when I stopped at the salon because I had to get buzzed in, I grabbed the gate, and as soon as I grabbed the gate, they stopped.
Got it. Okay.
Alarm. And my back was turned towards them, and they stopped behind me. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I had to let go before they buzzed me in, because if they had buzzed me in, I could have been bum rushed into the salon. Right. So I decided to like, no, don't buzz it, and turn around and face them. Yes, is there a problem? And they sat in silence, and I had to, I'm not the one, choose somebody else. Yeah. Keep on going. Yeah. And they understood the whole body language, because it's like, okay, my shoulders are square. You already see my weapons in my hand because I carry them. I keep my kitties on me or whatever. And it's just like, this is what it's going to be. And I am not going to be an easy target for you. Yeah. And so they got that, they picked up the body language, they picked up what I was saying and went on about their business.
Yeah.
And so it's just, but those are the situations where it's like, okay, a lot of women would cower or try to get away from it. It's just like, part of the lesson that I am teaching them, even in the physical stuff, is face the fear, right?
Yeah.
Face it. Because even the moves that I'm teaching them are, you have to step in. Like, most of these moves, you can't do it while trying to pull away and do. You step in and face the fear. You become the aggressor. That's how you flip the tables on them. You do something unexpected by going at them as opposed to away from them.
Yeah.
And so, so those are the lessons, you know, that I try to push on and even explain the stories of, no, I have to practice what it is I'm preaching.
Yeah.
Because it would have been totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. So so you said to them, can I help you, or what's up? And then they did, sorry if you said,
they stared me down for a minute, kind of determining whether this was going to be a good move or whether they could, I really don't know. And I can't even guarantee that they were up to anything malicious.
Sure.
But it's the fact that you made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And in you making me uncomfortable, I am not going to excuse my discomfort for your comfort.
Oh, soundbite. That's so great.
I like, listen, if I'm uncomfortable, you're about to be uncomfortable too, and I'm putting you on spot. And it was me being super loud too, because it was just like, help. Oh, yes. Is there a problem? Can I help you?
Yeah.
I'm not the one. Not today. Choose somebody else or go on about your business.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and then standing there and really challenging them. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say and then try to walk away. I'm going to say it and stand firm on it. And let's make eye contact and you look into these eyes.
Yeah.
And so then they just kind of like, and I want to say the older gentleman, he cussed me a little bit. F you, blah, blah, blah. And then they just walked on about their business.
Yeah.
And so I watched them get a good amount away and then went inside. But then I was inside constantly wondering if people were going to come back or not. It was just such an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah. Well, at least you're locked in at that point. Hopefully the next person will be as observant.
Every person that comes in after, which is what forced me to make the video, because every person that came in after that was just flinging the gate open and walking through, and the gate closes really slow. And I'm just like, you are putting all of us at risk. Like, do you not notice when people start to lock gates, they know something that you don't know?
Yeah. That was
this environment better than you.
That was like the aha moment for me when I watched that video. Was I'm going to paraphrase and please correct me, but you said something like, if people are locking their doors and gates, that's a signal to you that you should be on your P's and Q's. And like, so if there's a locked gate, you better lock it behind you or pull it shut behind you, because they know more than you. If you're a visitor, they know more than you. Follow their cues. And I just loved that interpretation. We think of situational awareness as keeping your head on a swivel and looking around, but it's also really processing the information and like, okay, here's this information I've been given. This door's locked. It's locked for a reason. And I've never heard anyone articulate it like that before. And I was like, that is golden.
I have, I mean, my experiences so far between clubbing and things like that it's the behavior cues.
Yeah.
Okay, like those are your bread and butter. I have been in so many situations where I wasn't picking up on what was happening.
Yeah.
And it cost me. Like I ended up in the middle of things that I shouldn't have been in the middle of, and so I'm not the best at observing certain things, but my friend is. When I tell you we're out and she'll just tap me and be like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what you mean it's time to go? We're partying, hold on. And she's like, no, honey, it's time to go. And I have learned to trust her instincts, because the times that she's tried to do that and I didn't listen, we were in drama. And so it's just like, okay, you say it's time to go, it's time to go. I have to start trusting your instincts because they have been spot on.
I love it. It ties back into what you're saying, that theme of women and girls and joy, right? Like you can go out there and you have a great time. And so many times there's like this drudgery to, well, I don't want to go out in pairs. It's like, well, I don't know. My girlfriends are kind of fun. Like, let's go dancing. And like, it's important that they have your back and that they're paying attention, right? Like you don't want to be the one like being on the lookout all the time. I love that. that
People
approach.
used to think that I was crazy because whenever I go out with new people or go on vacation with new people, like, no, we're literally going to have a conversation about escape.
Oh,
And they're
nice.
like, what kind of clubs do you go to? Listen, this is where we park. Everybody pin this parking space.
Smart.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a partner? This is the one person you need to be looking for at the end of the night.
Yeah.
This is the direction I'm going to run in. Here are the safe spots. Listen. So, and they're just like, what? I can't believe you think all of that. And then, and then on top of that, I know myself.
Yeah.
And I know that I can get hot-headed.
Yeah.
So I'm preparing you guys for when I start swinging on people. Okay. Because
this is where you have to drag me back to.
Exactly. I mean, geez, it just goes crazy.
Well, yeah, I love what you're saying about like that planning ahead. And I hear this from time to time, and it's like, oh, it's a shame we have to think this way, or, you know, in terms of self-defense. And I was interviewed for an article last year, and that's how they introduced the article, that I was one of other people being interviewed. But anyway, but I remember reading that, and I was like, what do you mean it's a shame? It's like the more information I have, the more fun I can have, right? Like, you want me to just not have the information and stay home? That sounds like boring. Like, what is? Yeah. Okay.
Basically. That's why I tell, like, I get sent so many videos of bad stuff happening all over the place. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't want my page to be a fear-mongering page.
Yeah.
Because fear is not where I want people to live. I want people to live in a space of enlightenment. You are well aware of what the possibilities are, and you are well prepared for what the possibilities are. But I don't want you to ever not do something because you're in fear. And it's actually, I am almost having an issue with it right now with my mom, because she is officially 70 and she's small and she's frail, but she's active. Yeah. So she wants to be out and doing this, and I'm running here at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just over there like, Mom, this and this and this and this and this. I had to check myself the other day because I'm just like, I'm terrifying my mother. Oh. I am literally terrifying my mom to the point where she needed to go to the bank, and I said I couldn't go with her. And then I was giving her, I said, okay, Mom, so you got to go to the bank by yourself. Okay, I want you to write down exactly how much money you need on a piece of paper before you go. Yeah. Okay, I want you to remember to put all that money in your bag before you walk out of the bank. Yeah. If there's a security guard, do not be afraid to say, can you walk me to my car? Yeah. Right? And just in giving her those tips, I scared her out of going altogether. Oh. And I felt so bad because she could see the terror in my face of me picturing my mom, anything happening to my mom. Yeah. And so then it's just like, okay, no, I have to check myself, and I have to like reestablish how I'm going about preparing her, because I don't want her in the house. I want you to live and enjoy. You earned this freedom. Yeah. Yeah. You've earned retirement. You've earned being able to go out and do whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. I don't want to be the reason you're afraid. Yeah. I want to be the reason you're prepared. I love that. Well, that is, you know, I been doing martial arts. It sounds like you, like, kind of my whole life. And then, you know, I'm 51 now, and it's like, for me, I can't do what I used to do in the way I used to do it, right? Like, I've been dealing with an injury that's just taking forever, and like everything's fast, or it takes longer. And I hadn't really thought about it though, because like, and that's one reason that drives what I do. It's like physical, like you can just throw that out the window. If like I pivot my foot the wrong way and I'm out for 4 weeks, like what's going to happen on the street? I sure as hell don't want to go hands-on with somebody, you know, because then that, where I hurt myself, it was like totally a friendly situation, right? In training. So it's like, yeah, I hadn't really thought about it in terms of like the aging and how do we, because we focus on young women or middle women, but yeah, older women are vulnerable, and how do we not scare them? So, and how do you, it's just like, I've been talking to her at this point, because it's just like, I don't see her being physically capable of doing the things that we prepare ourselves to do. Yeah. And so it's just like, how can you minimize your loss? This is, and this is where we're at. We're minimizing loss. Only carry with you what you actually need, and you aren't worried about losing. And when they come or you feel them coming, hand it over.
Yeah.
Let it go. Like nothing is irreplaceable. Hand it over. And because you've already prepared yourself and minimized what it is, then it's not that big of a loss. It might shake you up a little bit, but you get to go home and you get to say, well, gotta order some new cards.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. And so that's kind of the approach that I'm trying to take with her. It's just like, okay, let me move away from fear and preparedness and just realize if it's gone, and it's gone, but I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you're having that you have those conversations, because it's so many times those situations happen and we're just the deer in the headlights because it doesn't occur to us.
Oh, yes.
Something you said earlier, Kelly, with regards to just kind of like where you grew up and then your own kids, like their environment's different. So you're having to kind of teach them the skills. And that's kind of the world I'm caught in. Like I grew up in a neighborhood that wasn't so great. And you just learn by a certain age, there's a way you walk down the street and there's a way you carry yourself. And so for me, with asphalt anthropology, it's about teaching kind of not so much the kicking and punching, but just like, how do I navigate like a busy intersection? Do I stand on the edge of the curb waiting for, anything that can and does happen? Or, are there other options? And so that's kind of what I specialize in. And I've been in this inquiry, and I'm just dying to ask you this. It's like, there's some things that I feel like I'm reverse engineering from both myself and other people who are experienced of being on the street and pedestrians. And it becomes unconscious habits. But then I wonder, like, can you really teach this to somebody who maybe grew up in a more sheltered environment? And like, that's been my goal to teach this, but sometimes I wonder if that's even possible. What's your take on that?
I personally, I get exactly what you're talking about, because most folks will have to learn through fire, right?
Yeah.
But so I would say it is possible to teach, but it's about planting the seed. And sometimes the seed will only grow when it's watered through fire.
Got you.
Like,
Yeah.
I can teach you that when they put the yellow on the curb, then that's a warning. You're supposed to not stand in it. That's literally your danger zone, right?
Yeah.
But until you're almost knocked over by the car hitting the corner, and you're almost knocked down, it's not gonna really register to you. But from that moment on, you will remember that lesson that you were taught previously. The seed has already been planted.
Right.
And now it gets to blossom because of your experience, and you start to back up and you start to recall, oh, somebody did tell me that this was a thing. Yeah. And so, but it is always that repetition, because trying to teach someone something, again, they have to hear it 1,000 times or experience it in a way that creates that emotional tie.
Yeah.
And that emotional tie is always like, oh my God, I almost got hit by a car. Yeah. Remember when we told you don't stand right there on the edge?
Yeah.
And so it is very difficult to teach people something that in their minds could never happen to them. Right. Because of where they grew up or what is going on. And it's just like, even now, as I see new people in my community, and I'm just going, okay, you guys are out running your dogs or walking your dogs at 9:40, and you're not recognizing where you are. I know it looks cute. I know you bought your house here and you dressed it up and made it look fantastic, but you are still smack in the middle of the hood. And so as much as you want to think you would never be a target, we're running out of anyone else to target.
Oh, interesting.
You get what I'm saying? It's just like, they talk about the Black on Black crime, and we always counter that by explaining Black on Black crime because Blacks are next to the Black folks. Like, who else are you going to target except the people that you're near the most? Yeah. But now there aren't any Black folks left.
Wow.
There aren't any Hispanics left. So the only people left to target are those coming into the community with these pretty doughy eyes, like they're still in the suburbs, and you're not. Yeah. You're very much not. And you need to start being aware that the safety and the bubble that you were in before is not real. It's not real.
Thank you. Yeah, that is something that I hear. People get shocked by what's beyond their front door. And it's like, I'm glad that you have such a safe and wonderful environment that, but that doesn't mean it's like that everywhere else.
Exactly.
And one,
the other
one,
90% of the world.
yeah. I've been working on this theory, something been kicking around in my head. It's like, we always hear like, oh, how can you tell if you're in a bad neighborhood? And, people want to talk about that. And I'm like, to me, a bad neighborhood is when you are in the suburbs and you live like spread out and you are in a bubble and you don't have interaction with people. It's like and these are like neighborhoods people aspire to, but it's like you're actually like in this like bubble. That, to me, that's a terrible neighborhood.
It's
and
unsafe.
it's totally unsafe because if that's the environment, you have no skills for navigating other people, your physical environment. So it's not about, is that place over there a bad neighborhood? To me, it's like, where am I from? Like, what's my neighborhood? Like, I need to adjust myself where I came from to that environment. It's not like, oh, those folks over there or that physical location over there is so terrible. It's like, maybe it's me. Maybe it's where I'm from. Maybe I just need to learn a thing or two.
And maybe it's how I'm carrying myself in all of these areas.
Yeah.
Again, that carrying yourself as if you are a target. Like, I'm digging in my purse. I got my wallet, and it's just like, no, because that's in this neighborhood, that's called a mark.
Right. So how do you teach? It's like, so we talked about kind of the physical, like we talked about like the curve and where to stand and stuff, but it's like the story you described with the nail salon dudes. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like what you did, I have my own flavor of that, but I'll look somebody in the eye. It's like, what's up? Can I help you? What's going on? But I think for so many girls and so many women, like, I feel like unless you're born into that environment, or like how do we teach that?
And so I have had this question kind of brought to me a few times by my brothers and my dad.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, honey, like, you grew to be this aggressive type of person. Yeah. And I'm just like, but I want to exchange energies with the people that come to my class, because energy is exchangeable. Like, I am so rough with the girls that come to my class. Yeah. Right. It's just like, it's all fun and games, but I like to play these little games and scenarios of things that I've experienced. Like, so I might do the nail shop experience or a scenario like that during the next class, right? Yeah. To see how you respond. But they get so antsy because I'll do things like guys do, where they come in real close and slow, right? Just to kind of put the pressure on. And then they get to giggling and doing stuff. And I'm like, now, you see how you're responding right here? Yeah. Do you see how you're responding? And these are the things that we have to intentionally change our mind. I'm not going to do. But showing them what they do naturally is oftentimes like, because they think that if something happens, that they are going to just know what to do immediately. Right. And I'm just like, you don't even know what to do, and we play.
Right. And you're giggling and blushing. Yeah. We've all seen that a million times. Yeah.
So it's just like showing you how your body naturally reacts, and then demonstrating how much energy it will actually take. Like, you have to, and so it's really just practice. And then I get really aggressive with them. Like, a couple of pictures I showed, they were in full on shock. I go in slow, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you looking nice today. And then all of a sudden I'll grab them and push them up against the wall. Yeah. And they're like, no, this can really happen to you. Just as easy as what I just did. Yeah. With you feeling like I was going to be in this class. Like, I don't know what you expected from this class, but most of the time they don't expect me to get as physical with them as I do. Yeah. It's just like, but I need you to feel this, and I need you to feel the fear that comes from it. Yeah. Because that's exactly how you're going to feel. Right. And that's the freak out and the freeze up that we are practicing and working against. Yeah. Right. So it's just continuously putting them in positions of discomfort. I think that's like the biggest thing that I can do, is make them as uncomfortable as possible, to explain to them or show them what the work is, where the work is that we have to change.
So we started this conversation talking about the joy that I witnessed in your room in that video and the fun. And so we're quickly disabusing any misconceptions that folks might have that it is all lollipops and unicorns in your classroom. Like you go there. And so so it sounds like that I just step out there and just say it sounds like fun is like essential if you're going to go that far, right? Like you have to like have that break. So how do you manage that? Like do you plan it? How does that look like?
I start off, so I always start off the classes usually. I'm a very animated person automatically. And so when I do my introductions and stuff, I'm letting them kind of see exactly who it is I am and the type of person it is that I am.
Yeah.
And I talk to them and prepare them. I'm just like, so I just want you to know that this is what's coming. And then I let them know they do have the option to tap out. Like if I got too physical with you and you're just like way too uncomfortable, you can tap out. But I remind them in real life, you won't get that option.
No. Yeah.
So think about it before you decide to tap out.
Yeah.
Think about, but will I be prepared later? And then usually we start the classes off with some different moves. And I'm a big person on competition. So that's where all the fun comes in at. It's always some sort of competition. Yeah. Even when we're doing the shrimp, can you shrimp faster than the next person? Can you push the next person off? So it gets to be fun like that. And during all that time, we're building this rapport.
Yeah.
So now when we jump into the real hard, aggressive, I'm not playing with you anymore. I really need you to feel this. I need you to be afraid. They're more trusting of me.
Yeah.
But I'm still putting them in this, oh my God, you really you're going to leave with a bruise. Yeah. You might very well have my fingers on your throat, a mark on there tomorrow, but did you figure out how to get out of it?
Yeah.
Were you able to practice it? Did you go home with something to practice with your friend or with your brother or whatever the case is? And again, is it something that probably won't hurt anybody later?
Yeah.
I was just like, they go home and immediately beat up their siblings. I was just like, okay.
Oh, isn't that what we're supposed to do? That's the fun part. That's why I went, right? I had two older brothers I had to take on.
Exactly. So it's always taking the time to kind of build that rapport and to let them see me. And then again, that's why I love having my daughter and why I bring her, because I will roughhouse her and throw her around as an example. And then they watch her giggle and laugh and not be totally freaked out by it, that they're like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Sure. And so that's kind of been the biggest help I've had, is having my daughter there, having my family there, and just being able to show them like, it's not just me, like we can all have fun. We can all get rough and tumble and it still be a great experience.
So you have a role model that's the girls' age in your daughter to normalize this kind of rough and tumble play.
Exactly.
Love it.
And once you put the moms and the daughters against each other, it's just like the daughters where exactly it's on. Like, I've been waiting all my life to be allowed to manhandle my mom. They never win though. Never win. No, that's a lie. I did have one. I was like, now you out here putting mamas to shame. I can't believe you let me toss you around like this.
Well, I'm hearing the gauntlet being thrown for anyone who's watching this. Perhaps, let's see if you're up for the challenge. Go take the class and see what you can do.
It is the best. And my baby hasn't beat me once yet. But she is just like, one day. But it is definitely super fun.
How old is your daughter?
She's 16 now.
Oh, she's 16
this summer.
Oh, wow. Well, she's not young, little then. So you better kind of watch your back there.
Oh my gosh. Look, while she's still skinny, I still got weight on her.
Okay, there you go.
Got weight. But it's a good time and it's a good lesson. And I love that they always want to come back. That's like my favorite part, is that they are actually, they're sold. Yeah. They're sold on, yes, this is something that you need and can be fun to learn. Yeah. Because I just don't see many girls, especially after 5th grade, that want to do any type of martial arts or any type of physical anything for the most part, unless they play a specific sport.
Yeah.
But once you start talking about karate or anything that is a slow, skilled type of, they're not interested, and they'll all like tap out. But I'm just like, okay, no, let's just go into realistic type of situations, because
Yeah.
I know for a fact one of these boys pulled your hair the other day.
Yeah.
Like, I know for a fact that some guy came and put his arm around you and held you tight, and you didn't know how to get out of it, and you were wiggling. So these are just simple, natural ways for you to defend yourself throughout the day.
Yeah.
And to set those boundaries.
What you talked about, maybe I'm not sure. Well, I'll just ask the question. You talked about when girls hit about 5th grade, things are changing. They're not interested in sports and as a whole. Is that what I'm
not necessarily the sports? They're not interested. And I would say martial arts, because martial arts becomes, before you get to the fun stuff, it's the slow learning all the intricate movements and the intricate blocks and the katas and everything else. And most of them will tap out before they get halfway through it.
Okay, yeah.
They don't want to be still. They don't want to focus. And so I always try to, I never really tell those grade levels to send their kids to a karate class or anything like that. Usually if they're younger or having some issue with like impulse control or something like that, I'm definitely like, yes, take a martial arts class. It's really good for discipline and regulation.
Yeah.
And once they get older, I'm like, they may need to step in. I might offer boxing or just a self-defense class, because it jumps into the active part almost immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they're able to get sold on it a little faster.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because I know that there's a lot, and you being in education, what can you tell us about like the impacts of girls as they mature, right? Like there's a whole, and this isn't something I looked at a long time ago, and it's not something I've kept up with, but like there's a certain age, like 12, where girls just like they become very different in terms of their confidence. And is it around puberty? What do you observe there?
It is the social ladder.
Okay.
So automatically, so it really actually hits about 4th grade, if we're being honest. So about 4th grade is when you will start to see a little bit of transition in their temperament and their desire to be involved in certain things.
Okay.
Because now they are transitioning from getting approval from their families and parents to approval from everybody else.
Gotcha. Yeah. Which is a normal developmental stage. We want to acknowledge that. Yeah.
Exactly. But that approval from everybody else is so confusing because there's so many other everybody else's.
Yeah.
And all of those people have these different ideas of who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to behave and who you should be sitting with. And so 5th grade, typically you get what's called that top dog syndrome.
Okay.
And so in top dog syndrome, you end up with the mean girls. They're in 5th grade and they're top of the school.
Yeah.
And now those mean girls start to unintentionally label everyone else.
Yeah.
And because of the place that you are, and now your belief that everyone else's opinion matters more than your family's.
Got it.
You almost accept what role it is they're giving you.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't hang with us, you hang with them. Or so it becomes questionable. Then you switch over to middle school and you're back as the baby again.
Yeah.
You're back as the baby again, fighting and clawing. But most of your family has probably told you, this is a chance to reinvent yourself. You're going to a brand new school. You can be whoever you want to be. But then you get into those places and it's so intimidating because you see all of these different groups, all of these different things you may be interested in. You may want to do sports, but you have this friend who is telling you sports is so uncool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just having to make these decisions for yourself and having to choose where you are on the social ladder and if it is okay to like the things that you like.
Yeah.
And it's such a sensitive time. I mean, so sensitive, in which I literally created an after school program so that I could better control the environment of my daughter.
Okay.
Because it was just like, I don't need her to be around anybody who's going to make her feel like less than who she is.
Yeah.
So if I can create atmospheres, it's almost like creating play dates, right? Everybody thinks the play dates are just for the little kids. No, it's for our middle schools. I push for enrichment programs because it's not just about what they learn in the enrichment program. It's the people that they're around.
Yeah.
These are parents and children who are interested in doing things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want them around people interested in doing things.
Yeah.
So it's very like that middle school time is just, it's get them involved in as much as you can. Like,
okay.
That's all I ever say. Get them involved in as many things as you can so that they can see that one person's opinion of them will not matter in the grand scheme of all the people around them. The more people you can expose them to, the better chances of them finding who they actually are.
Yeah. That's great. That's really rich. So what I'm hearing is like for the advice you're giving to parents is really expose them and get them in. You kind of have to really strong arm it and take control of that.
Absolutely, because they took you in a heartbeat. Oh, I just want to. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm sure I would do that. But it sounds like at the classroom level, like you make the skills so practical and being a teacher, you know what's going on and who's grabbing who in what way. So I love that so it's not that kind of theoretical kind of stuff. It's like, this guy grabbed you around the neck and okay, I love how practical that is.
I get so many young ladies, like when I come and introduce myself, like if I come in and substitute, I introduce them and I tell them I do self-defense classes. This is what I do. And immediately every young girl, what?
Oh, yeah.
How do I get some?
Oh.
I mean, they're so interested.
Oh.
They're so interested that it kind of is shocking to me that there aren't more classes and more things going on because they are absolutely interested. But while sitting in PE class every day, not participating because they don't want to play basketball.
Right.
They don't want to run around the track a bunch of times because they don't want to do volleyball. But it's just like, here we have this other physical thing that is not only an exercise, but it's practical and it's really valuable to their life.
And we'll solve that problem whenever I see that guy again or whatever. Yeah.
So, and they love it because they're out on these schoolyards, just constantly in these back and forth with the boys, back and forth with each other. It's just always.
Yeah. Well, so I want to ask you about another kind of piece to a dynamic when there's a threat or risk happening, and pulling on the story you talked about with the nail salon. So you told the story of how it went down, and just before or as the guys were leaving, one of the guys cussed at you or said something under your breath, probably called you a name or whatever. And when you said that, I was like, oh, that is so recognizable. Like, that's such the pattern, right? You like set that boundary down and you're going to get cursed at. They'll walk away, but they're going to curse at you. How do you talk about that with the girls in the class? And what are some of your thoughts there and how to managing that for yourself?
So as far as like deciding whether that's a moment to say something back or not, or
well, I'm guessing you probably you prepare them for that, right? Like if you, I mean, you said that in your story, right? Like you're very upfront. Like, here's the whole dynamic. It's not just I was the superhero, and like there's it's not like whenever we're in these situations, it's not like there's a clear-cut victory winner, right? Like we all walk around feeling really bad, and like I've come home and cried, after encounters I've had. So like
I felt bad. I came home feeling lightweight bad because I'm like, what if I really just yelled at these guys and they had no intention on doing anything and they just stopped because I was gorgeous?
Yeah. Well, and that's totally plausible, right? Why don't we go there?
And so it is. So the conversation usually again is that whole I guess just the discernment. Is it like even just today, again, we're having those conversations about making sure that your responses match, not necessarily the crime. I couldn't think of the word, but it was match the crime. The consequences match the crime. Yeah. So in that particular case, okay, I've set my boundary. I've said what it is, and you're cussing me out. This isn't something that I need to respond to.
Yeah.
Like once we get there, this isn't something I need to respond to. And that's even something that I'm learning now day to day is, okay, I don't need to respond to that because there is going to be a consequence to every response, every action. And I remind them constantly, you can defend yourself. That does not excuse you from the consequences that come from it.
Yeah.
Because the consequence of me standing up for myself could have been those men jumping on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, but making that discernment and just deciding, is this worth whatever it is I'm going to do to defend myself?
Yeah.
Is this a moment that is even necessary to continue on? Because once he said what he said, I could have kept it going.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I'm going to get the last word in this particular situation, but
Right.
that's not defense.
Right.
That's then just you agitating a situation.
Yeah.
Defense is about blocking and protecting yourself and then separating from the situation as fast as you possibly can.
Right.
So when when we were talking about the will and stuff, and I'm just like giving them scenarios, and I'm just like, so in this scenario, if this boiled down to just some classroom stuff, you crack a joke and it falls flat, and the person who you cracked a joke on, their friend is offended by the joke you cracked. If that friend came over and smacked you, is that justified to you?
Yeah.
Are you going to take that slap and it's just what it is? Or are you understanding that you cannot just do whatever you want to the crime? It needs to match. And the consequence, are you expecting, if you were the one slapped, would you want consequences on that person?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were the one doing the slapping, are you expecting to get away scot-free?
Yeah.
And even when we defend ourselves and we win, the consequences, I'm going to be sore the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. No one talks about that. It's like, you're going to feel that. You might walk funny.
Exactly. You're going to receive something in response to your reaction to things. So really having that discernment and deciding, is this worth it?
Yeah.
And taking a moment, taking a breath to really think about it. Like we talk about the active breath. Before you take an active, animated breath, hold it. If you still are ready to respond at the end of that breath, then maybe it might have been worth it. But at least taking the moment to, okay, whoo, because that can be the difference. That can make the total difference. So it's just talking to them about really understanding that everything comes with a consequence.
Yeah.
Like there is no scot-free defense. There just isn't. And even like the Will and Jada thing, and not Will and Jada, the Will and Chris Rock thing, right? When I explained to them, I'm just like, okay, chances are because of his fame, he's not going to jail. He's not going to be arrested. He might not even have to pay anything. But the consequence now is that his wife is embarrassed online for the next couple of months. The consequence is that this person you tried to check now has tripled their sales to their comedy show.
Yes. Yeah. I saw that.
They now have more supporters and more people knowing their name than they did before. So what exactly did you accomplish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Having those conversations about really looking at all these different scenarios that you'd be like, haha, gung ho, yes. But is he really winning? Did he win?
Yeah.
Was the objective to win? What was the objective? Because you guys are acting like what he did was okay. And me, I'm a hitter, I'm a fighter. So when I saw it, I was just like, oh, okay. In my mind, I really didn't see anything wrong, but that doesn't excuse him from the consequence of it.
Yeah. No matter what, if he went up there and handed him a basket of Easter eggs, there'd be consequences, right? There's always something.
Always something that's coming from it. So so really just understanding and having those discernment, and those are the basic like conversations of how do we de-escalate, how do we avoid the physical stuff if we possibly can.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm just absorbing all that for a minute. That's a lot. I love that you're walking. What age group do you work with for the ergonomic?
I am working with 8 and up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. Because you would think an 8-year-old has no understanding of the stuff that I'm talking about, but they are right there with it.
Oh, wow.
Right there. They're just like, yeah, because such and such did this to me. And just most of the time they don't really, my younger ones, 10 and under, they're starstruck by the fact that they can speak up for themselves.
I love that.
Oh. It's not even when I tell them, you have the ability to say no, yes to your teacher, yes to your mom, to your dad, you can say no. And if they don't respect your no, of your 5 people in your safety net, reach out to one of those people and let them know that person didn't respect your no.
Yeah.
You have ways to get, and they're like, what? I'm allowed to? You can.
Wow.
There are ways for you to get help. And I'm not saying do it like we used to do. We used to threaten to call CPS on our parents every time they do something to us. How come the police?
Your poor mother.
Man. So it's just like understanding, no, we're not taking that route, but you have the route to say, I really don't like it when.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable how you.
Yeah.
It hurts my feelings. And especially in our mommy and me classes, when I tell them that, they glance over at their moms.
Oh.
And their moms are usually sitting there going, yes, you can, honey.
Oh.
And it's like all the confirmation that they needed to speak their truth. I'm allowed to speak my truth to my mom.
Yeah.
So I can definitely go speak my truth to my teachers. Man, the conversation we're having today with the students today, because I was watching some students that were left behind for a field trip.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you guys are acting like people are in here trying to hurt you. You are literally here because of the choices you made to be disrespectful. I'm like, even you're literally creating problems out of nothing. A teacher is in here specifically saying, okay, no, I need you to move to that seat. And your refusal is the disrespect.
Yeah.
So then you want to be upset when they go, now you feel disrespected. Now you feel disrespected. But when they ask you politely,
right,
what you chose to do escalated it a little more. So think about your behaviors and think about, because it's not always them.
Right.
It's not always outside that is causing the issues, that is causing the danger. It is us, the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the places you go, the way that you go to those places, the way you move within those places. I'm not saying don't go there, but when you go there, walk with purpose, hold your shoulders up, pay attention to what you're doing. Don't look soft. It is your behaviors you create. And that's not to say that you can't avoid anything by doing everything right.
Right.
But statistically, your chances go down by holding yourself in these type of ways.
Yeah. Well, I think what's really important, I keep coming back to that nail story for some reason as you're speaking. You talked about like the guys, like they targeted you for like half a second, right? Like I think there's this myth, and I wrote about it recently. It's like, oh, if we walk around with confidence, we'll be fine, right? And it's like, I feel like I'm a pretty confident person. I'm more so some days than others, and I get targeted. You got targeted in that situation. So it's not like being the targeted in the first place, but it's like that, like, what do you do now? Right? Like now, like maybe I have to muster up that confidence that maybe I was lacking 5 seconds ago, but I better pull it up now. Yes. And which is what you illustrated as you told that story about how you turned and confronted them. Wow, that's really powerful.
Because it's just like, I speed walk basically everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And even in my speed walking and in my I'll beat your ass tee and my cutters hanging from my pants, it's just like I basically have "don't mess with me" written all over me.
Yeah.
People will still choose to mess with me.
I know.
And it's just like I in my mind, I'm doing all the things that I should be doing. That doesn't exclude me from the dangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
It simply puts me in a prepared situation to deal with them.
Yeah.
And hope that my preparedness makes the situation go in my favor.
Yeah.
And again, anything can happen and nothing is you can't avoid the consequences of it, but all we're trying to do is be prepared for what could possibly come our way.
Right. So I have one last question for you, and it's a big one. We'll see how this goes. If you could just wave a wand and like instantly something transforms for young women that you work with or that you see kind of what's missing, even as a teacher, like what would that be? Would it be confidence? Would it be something else? Like what would that thing that you would just love to fix?
The one thing that I would love to fix, it would be Oh my gosh, that is a hard one.
I'm
Ooh,
sorry.
I want to say confidence, I do, but it's like not necessarily confidence, it's value.
Oh,
Really, if I could wave my wand, it would be for every young lady to really already see her heightened value. It's just like we protect diamonds,
yeah,
we put them in paintings, all of these valuable things we surround with all these protections.
yeah.
Okay, you should be surrounded with all these type of protections.
Oh,
You
wow.
are
Yeah,
valuable, you
yeah,
are invaluable, honestly.
yeah.
And so really setting yourself up to protect yourself verbally, physically, spiritually, whatever ways you need
Mm,
to allow yourself to blossom as best you can. That's what I would do. Really allow everyone to see how valuable they are to this world. I mean, especially as a woman, you bring life to this planet.
yeah, yeah,
You shape nations.
yeah.
Like, this is how valuable you are. And not only should you understand the value of you, but when you start to understand your value, you start to force everyone else to understand your value as well.
Yeah.
And so then that becomes a shift of the mindset of the men that you choose, the
Mm,
things you will tolerate, all of that. And again, women are the shapers of nations. So as we change our mind or what it is that we see and how we see ourselves and where we should be,
yeah,
everyone has to fall in line, because what other choice do you have?
yeah, yeah. Wow, that was powerful. Seeing your value. Everything comes from that.
It, how valuable are you? I'm man, because that it took me a very long time. I still fight with recognizing my value amongst my friends. Like
Mm,
that has always been kind of an issue for me as a child. It's just like I never felt valuable enough to be a part of the group and believe that they would protect me as if I was valuable.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so it's just like at every, but my feeling of not feeling valuable enough, it seemed to, and I can't say it definitely did, but it seemed to manifest where I was not being protected by the people around me.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I don't see my value in this group, and neither do you.
yeah.
And now as I grow and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I am and I do. And I like I'm dope. And I'm just like, no, I am very valuable amongst them. I can see their value and I can see my own. And when I can see my own value, then they're looking at me and they're like, no, we'll go above and beyond for you. The way that my friends and my loved ones move on my behalf now is
Yeah.
something I've never seen before. And I cannot help but feel like it has to do with me finally recognizing my own value amongst my people.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. And I so relate to that. Like it is a journey that's never done. Like we're always finding those edges, but there is hopefully a place of certain kind of like stability that you just grow from there on that. That's beautiful. Oh, I'm right there with you. That is my wish for all the folks who watched today and the folks that you work with and that I work with is your value. Oh, Kelly, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to address or bring up?
Girls Empowered is coming up if anybody wants to sign up.
Yes. Yeah. Let's
Our
jump in. Let's jump into your promos. What do you got?
Yes. So we have our Girls Empowered 3-day course coming up.
Yeah.
The orientation is April 16th out here
Okay.
in Oakland. I can only take on 15 girls. And honestly, I want to say last I looked, 9 of the seats were already gone.
Oh, okay.
So if you are trying to come to this next Girls Empowered course, which will not be coming back until the fall,
Okay.
then hop on right now, click the links on the Instagram bio and go ahead and register. It is a free course, so come on through.
Great. And I'll get from you later and I'll include in all the material, like is there a best place to reach you? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook?
Instagram.
What's your Instagram?
Instagram
Okay.
is like the best place. I am just on there majority of the time. I barely able to get to the emails. It just goes crazy.
Okay. So if that's how people that's how people can get best in touch with you. Great.
Girls
It's
drop the pen.
Girls Out, and I will put that in all the written information about this. Kelly, thank you so much for taking the time. You filled my heart. Like I said, watching that one video just filled me with joy. And then this has also been very inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm like, this is the first time I was like, oh my God, somebody wants to talk to me.
That's right. I don't know why everyone needs to talk to you. I just been, like I said, been fangirling on you for a while. And yeah, so give her a follow, see what she's up to.